all your participants, dignitaries of Research Foundation of India, and our distinguished subject expert, Dr. Ankita Jain ma'am. As we all know that today it is March 16 January and day 3rd of our FDP program on a systematic way of research paper writing. And the topic for today's session is problem identification and formulation, the art of writing a review of literature. And for this, Ankita Jan ma'am is here with her valuable knowledge. But before we head towards the session, let's have a look on ma'am's achievement journey. Ma'am has been associated with Sriveshwar Institute of Management and Research Indore as assistant professor in Department of Management. Prior to it, ma'am has served in Prestige Institute of Management and Research Indore for 2 years, and ma'am has teaching experience of more than 8 years. She has completed her PhD from Prestige Institute of Management and Research TAVB Indore under the guidance of Dr. Anukul Manish Haire. Ma'am has been involved in teaching subjects like human resource management, principles and practices of management, entrepreneurship, business communication, organizational development, personality development, performance management, human resource development, leadership skill and change management, and other general management oriented subjects at undergraduate and postgraduate level. Ma'am has completed annual 5-week faculty development program at Indian Institute of Management Indore, and one patent has also been published in April 22 on methods or model for solving the unemployment problem through digital business. Ma'am was invited for expert lectures at various places, and even she has coordinated and moderated various events and national and international events. She has been the book editor in book Virtual Teaching in India during lockdown. Apart from that, 10 books have also appeared processes under her guidance. Ma'am has been attended various national and international conferences and presented more than 45 papers and published more than 30 research papers, one book chapter and case studies in international national journals and conferences presents too. Ma'am has also been attended various training sessions, workshops, FDP and lectures by management forums. Ma'am has completed various life projects and major research projects with students. In her job, she has been the part of institutional committees such as Research and Development Committee, Industry Institute Interface Committee, Admission Sale, Culture and Literacy Committee, Admission Sale, Placement Sale, Management Games and Extracurricular Activities. Ma'am has organized various cultural events including fashion shows, flash mobs at various places in Indore. Also, she has been honored at Devi Ahilyabai Holkar Airport by Airport Authority for presenting flash mobs on Republic Day and World Tourism Day, and also counseling the students for their career as well as for individual development also. If we talk about ma'am's keen interest in research and work and counseling to the student, she is also a motivational speaker, career guide, and life coach by passion. Ma'am has trained various students on multiple skills, and with this, she has named many more certifications under her futures. So, with this, I feel it's really my honor that ma'am is here on RFI's platform to guide our participants. So, without any more further delay, I would request Ankita Jain ma'am to hold the platform. Now, the footprint is yours. And one more humble request from all the participants that please keep yourself mute during the session. If you have any queries, just use the doodle of hand sign, but please try to keep yourself mute to maintain the decorum. Ma'am, please continue and welcome.
Thank you so much, Nikita ma'am. Thank you so much, Team RFI, and their wonderful coordination for the events and providing such kind of opportunity to the all the scholars and the faculties and academic fraternity for getting such kind of knowledge like through different experts. They are organizing lots of events, organizing webinars and seminars. So in this particular faculty development cum training program on a systematic way of research paper writing that is started on 13th of January and will be ending on 18th, you have already talked about, like we were having a set of experts where you have talked about hypothesis development and testing, understanding ethical issues, and plagiarism. Also, we'll be going to talk about application of SPSS for data analysis and compiling the references and bibliography. And in today's session, I'll be going to talk about problem identification and formulation, art of writing a review of literature. So let me share my slides with you all. I hope my slides are visible and my voice is audible to you all.
Yes, it's audible.
Yeah. So, as I have told you, my title is Problem Identification and Formulation. Also, the art of writing a review of literature. There are two parts of my topic today. So, let me come on this. Today, we are discussing two things. One is problem identification or identification of research problem, or you can say research questions. Second part, I'll be talking about review of literature. So, first of all, I would like to tell you all that whenever we are going to write a research paper, there are lots of things which comes in our way, and we think about a title number of times, what it should be, what is the right word we should use. Like whatever we are choosing, that is a choice, maybe sometimes by accidental way that we have found some title and we want to research on it. Sometimes we are very clear about our research objectives, sometimes we are not. Sometimes we know what are the such which research questions we have to answer. Sometimes we do not answer the research. We are not able to answer what exactly it should be. Okay. In that case, if we talk about the research problem, what exactly it is, and from where it comes. So basically, when we talk about any, when something comes in our mind that we want to study on something, this, so there is something comes in our mind that we want to get the answer of it. Okay, that something can be any kind of problem, any kind of situation, any particular question which is there in our mind. Okay, in that case, from where we should start? So we should start writing the words, the keywords, the I mean the things which are coming in our mind needs to be answered. In that case, you will get something. What do you want to study? But obviously, the refinement will not be there till the time you are not studying the review of literature. Means now things are there in your mind, but what exactly it should be will come after reading or understanding or learning from the review of literature. That is why we have connected these two uh, topics from this particular in this particular session, that research problem and review of literature. So let me tell you, whenever we are starting with any of the review of literature, means there is something in our mind, we'll start searching on it. We search different databases and we find out some of the research paper to study related to our research, related to our title. Maybe not exactly same, but maybe kind of same. Okay. So we have to download, we have to see. In that case, what will happen? What we have to do is that we have to find out number of things. Number one, the variables we are taking. Number two, the keywords basically, which we have chosen are from which area, from which type of research we are planning. So we have to see, like you want to go for qualitative or quantitative work, to whom you are going to target as your sample, like exactly what you are supposed to study. So in that case, the research problems gives ask you number of questions comes in your mind and you write the research problem. So review literatures give you like the idea about what has been done in the past. Means review literature is what? Already published data. So you think you have to understand that on your chosen title, what studies are done till now, what has been done till now. So let me talk about it. What can be a research problem? So a research, it can be a research question. I'm talking about the research problem. So what is a research problem? So first one, it can be any kind of question that needs to be answered. It can be a concept that researcher wants to understand. It can be a crisis that needs to be resolved. It can be a situation that needs to be changed, or it can be any reason of dissatisfaction that needs to be satisfied. So research can problem can be there in any kind of mode. Now, second thing is identification of research problem. Identifying the research problem, first we have to go through the review of literature. Then you have to specify a research purpose. Means first you have to go for reviewing the literature, as much as literature you can review, you have to do. Then you have to specify research purpose of the research, the objectives, tentatives. See, I'm not saying this will be the final stage of identifying the objective, but at least you will reach to be very close to your objectives. Then you have to collect the data and you have to analyze and interpret the data. And finally, you have to evaluate. So, identification of research problem is very much important if you want to go for any kind of final formulation of your objectives and everything else. Then, selection of a research problem. First, you have to understand while you are selecting a research problem. See, there will be so many things will come in your mind, but because being a scholar, you have some foundations. You cannot study everything in a particular. I mean, you cannot study in a particular research paper or in a thesis. You cannot study everything. So you have to find out what exactly you want to study. Means you can keep some keywords. You can keep a specific area. Means you have to be specific while you are doing any studying any research problem. So first, you have to see, is the research problem relevant or and important? Secondly, you have to see, does the subject area suits to his interest? Then, does it contain any originality and creativeness? Also, does the problem requires extension of knowledge? So it should be in this way that that everything suits well in a particular direction. So whenever you're talking about, it should be important, it should be relevant, means again the keyword should be same, but you can also understand that whether it is affecting or adjusting or get going with your thinking point of view, whatever you were having in your mind. Second, does the subject area suits to his interest? Means whether it is like related to your interest area where you wanted to study. Secondly, third, this much is very much important. The review of literature which we are doing to identify proper research question and objectives also will help you to understand whether your title, your research problem is original or not. Means if you'll take the same title which somebody has already taken, it will come under the plagiarism. So you should always ensure that this kind of study has never been done in the past. So try to keep your objectives, research problem, everything as I mean as original as it can be. Try to involve some new variables, new research area, new sample, everything you can change. The design can be changed. And also use some creativity for doing this. Okay. Then does the problem requires extension of knowledge? Because yes, because you are not the god, you don't know everything. Every day, every time, in every year, I must say there are a number of things adding to the research world where you always need to understand what has been done, what is not. In that case, the extension of knowledge, your understanding about the topic, understanding about the subject is requiring the extension of knowledge. So you need to answer such question by you are selecting the research problem. And next is steps in formulation of a research problem. So if we talk about this, you have to identify the field first of all. Then you have to select the interest area and interest the find the selected the interested subject area means sub area, that what exactly you are trying to do and what is the specification. If you want to be the part, like for example, you cannot study the whole HRM. In that case, you might be studying about the HRD, human resource development climate. Maybe you will be talking about employee retention or anything. Means you have to identify the field and then the sub area for the same. Then you have to assess the objective, whether those objectives are up to the mark for understanding your area. Then formulate the objective. Then finally you can, like after assessing all the objective, you have to formulate the objective. Then you have to raise the questions. Now let's talk about the second part. So as the word suggests, reviewing the literature, review of literature, literature review, whatever we say, it means that whatever is already there, existing already, that you have to talk about that. So review of literature, what is it? The review of literature is a summary of all the reviews from various research literature related to the current study and carried out by a researcher. Means you have to study lots of papers, theses, any other content which is related to your title. Then you have to make a summary of all those so that you can understand whether what is the current study you are doing, that is you are carrying, you are doing it, it should be related. It helps to discover what is already known about the research problem and what more has to be done. As I have told you, whenever you are doing review of literature, it answers two questions: what is already done and what is left. Means what is supposed to be done, what is still there, which can be done, which needs to be done, what is still left. Okay, so you can find out the gap, you can see the gap, what is not there, so that can become your objectives and you can study those. The material gathered in the review of literature should be included as a part of the research data. Since it influences the problem, research design, it can be used to compare the results finding for the current study. See, review of literature is not the only part where we are using review of literature. Like after introduction, we are writing review of literature, but also whenever we are doing any kind of results, we are coming out with the results and we are writing the findings. After that, we have to discuss. We have to compare the results and finding with the previous studies. We call it discussion. Means that literature we are using in the like we are using at the time of writing review of literature. Also we have to understand there are some studies which can be in the favor of our study, which can some which are not in the favor of our study. Means there we have to do some comparison. So we have to write that after the result and interpretation chapter, or we can say in the chapter of findings and discussion. So there we discuss that what we have find out and what is already existing already there. So that can be in the favor or it can be in not in favor. So this review literature gives us, very proper idea on whether what is done and what is needs to be done. So that can be taken for our study. A review of literature is an assessment of a body of research that addresses a research question. Also, it is an organized written presentation of what has been published on a topic by the scholars. Various scholars, various researchers, and academicians already have done lots of studies on similar type of topic. See, whatever you are thinking to study, there are already people thinking in this world and they have done, they must have made it already. You must have observed this thing when you think about something, that things should be in this way. Innovation, about any kind of innovation, some innovative ideas come in your mind. Before that, like, you think there are lots of people who have started working on it. So that till the time you actually start thinking about it, it started coming in your mind that you should do it, you should do it. Suddenly you see that thing already existing in this world, means somebody already has implemented that idea into the reality. So that is why you should be like very particular on the topic. You should find out the gap, and through review of literature you can find out what exactly already has been done. Then from where you are going to get this review of literature? So resources of the review of literature can be magazines, newspaper, electronic databases, books, journals, conference papers, theses, encyclopedia, dictionary, research reports, websites, companies' websites, any kind of source from where you are going to get the data, government publications, any kind of reports published by the government, companies' website through which you can get all the data. Various schemes and things are there related to your title, maybe related to your title, are existing. So every like nowadays there are no, like, people are not going to the uh, library to library and searching here and there. They are searching everything online, and you can get all the data there also. So easily you can search literature review as much as you want. There are so many websites which are already existing, lots of having lots of literature and available with all type of data which is required by you. So you can download those research paper and thesis, and you can check out which kind of literature they have written. What also you can also learn by doing all this, you can also learn the step by step how can you write the paper, like what is this right way of writing the review of literature. So after reading few papers, you will get to know that this should be a sequence and the way of writing the review of literature. In that case, whenever you are writing the review of literature, you can see the sequence. Also, you can also define the research design, research, like in the same type of papers which you are choosing, which kind of methodology has been used, what sample they have taken, who were the respondents, how did they collect the data, which kind of tests or testing they have done, which kind of statistical data they have used. So this kind of things can be done. Characteristics. A good review of literature must be comprehensive, one. Number two, it should include up-to-date references. Means it should be enough, like it should have everything, whatever needs to be done. So comprehensive. Second, it should be up-to-date references. See, every time, as I have told you, if something is related to technology, you can see in past 10 years, things have changed very fast. Means from using ATM to using UPI, you have changed the difference. You have seen the difference. You have you have seen the changed scenario of using or payment things. Number two, like it should be systematic, properly done. It should be free from biases. It should be well written, properly written. It should be in the form of sum of its parts. Also, it should be clearly searched and selected. This is very much important. Whenever you are searching any literature, sometimes we see that it is looking very similar, but you have to read the content. Especially, you can read the abstract and to find out whether it is related to your title or not. So, it should be clearly searched and selected. Accurate references should be given in the review. This is again important to understand that plagiarism is there, if you are going to use somebody's data. So first of all, you should not copy and paste the data. You should read it, understand it, and write it in your own language. Number two, properly referencing should be given. Means if you are taking somebody's work, if you are choosing to write the reviews from that particular paper or somebody else's work, in that case you have to put the references. In text, citations are important. Means You need to mention their name, that who has done this research. If we are talking about the writing, so you can check out the APA style of writing. Also, in this FDP, there is one session that is talking about the compiling the references and bibliography. In that case, properly references should be given. In that, like, those references should be mentioned in the last, or you can also use that in the footnotes. Mostly people are using nowadays in the last. So references can be given in the review. Purpose: it helps to identify what is already known about a research problem first. What is the purpose of writing review literature we are talking about? And in this, what we are saying that it helps to identify what is already known. As I have mentioned, whenever you are studying literatures, you will see that what is already done and what you are planning to do. So, what needs to be done. Number two, it helps to build on previous knowledge. Basically, you understand what is done, so it enhances your knowledge. You study the papers and everything happens. Then, many published research studies contain recommendations for the future research. Now, again, everyone please concentrate on this thing that I really want to mention this thing. See, whenever you are reading a research paper which you have downloaded for review of literature, in the beginning you can see the abstract, which is talking about whatever happened in that research paper, like what methodologies you have followed, what questions you were having, what objectives you have taken, how much sample you are having had, or how did you collect the data, all the research methodology part, and also what did you find out and the keywords of your study. But what is not could we what will be what could not be done by that research scholar in that particular paper is mentioned in the future research scope. Means there is a sequence of writing a research paper. Number one, we write the introduction. Before that, we see that there is an abstract, but after that it is starting with the introduction, then review of literature, then third point is research methodology, in which we talk about lots of things about the sampling, research design, and everything else. Questionnaire for data collection or tools for data collection, tools for data analysis. So this is the next step, third step. Next one is results and interpretation. Next one is findings and discussion. And the last one is conclusion. In conclusion, there are four parts. One is limitations of the study. Number two, suggestions of the study. We also call, we can say suggestions and recommendations. And then after this comes, excuse me. So suggestions and recommendation. And the last thing which comes is future research scope or scope for the future research. Means in the limitations you decide what were the barriers which you were studying. Number two, if we talk about the suggestions, so what your study could not cover, what is in your study, what you see that can be suggested to everyone, you give the suggestions. Then uh, third one is we talk about implications of this study, in which you give the implications, in which you give implication to various stakeholders. For an example, you are going to study or you are studying the banks, so you can give suggestion and recommendations to like stakeholders can be related to banks, bankers, banking employees, and to the society, and of course to the researchers. These four kind of implications we are doing. But if we talk about the future research, so future research can be going to tell you about the what could not be done by that research. So in the future research scope, basically what will happen, you can see that what could not, means maybe one scholar is doing some work, but obviously he cannot or she cannot do everything, so something is left. They can write it in the future research scope. Even same thing you should do in your research work, that this was the part I was thinking about, but only this much I can cover, so this is left. So what is left, you can write in the future research. So uh, now it makes this now, so basically what I was trying to tell you, that abstract gives you idea about the whole thing, but future research scope tells you about the what could not be done. Okay, that you can also take in your research. Now next one is, it make researchers to know what research has already been done in a particular area, so that we can avoid the duplication. As already you are studying in the research review of literature, that what is not done. Okay, so means, see, there is one more step after review of literature. We write one more thing, that is research gap. Means what is still left, so you write research gap. That research gaps lead to write the research questions, and that leads to write the research objectives. So first, future research scope gives you a very clear idea about what is not done. Also, when you are studying review literature, you are doing, so you can also see what is already done, so you can avoid the duplication. And it is necessary to narrow the problem to be studied, because you are now you have the idea, so you can specify your research problem. Next is how to write a review of literature. There are two ways in which you can write a review of literature. One is chronological, another one is thematic. So on the basis of time period, it is chronological. On the basis of themes, it is thematic. So let me tell you how it can be done. If we talk about the chronological, generally there are two ways. You can write it in the uh, ascending order or descending order. Mostly it happens in ascending, like newest to the oldest, or you can also write from oldest to the newest. Means as many as research study you are writing in your research work, you can make it arrange as per the chronologically. Means on the basis of time. For example, you are writing any work, so you can write for the 2024, then 2023, 2022, studies from 2021 and 2020, like this. For a research paper, may be possible that you are not able to include data for all the years, like since beginning till now. So you can check, you can go for 5 years of data or 10 years of data. You can target something like this, and then you can work. So chronological, whenever we are doing, that can be done in a proper way by by writing in a ascending or descending order. Then thematic. In the thematic, on the basis of theme, so like you can also write in a different perspective. For example, Indian perspective, national perspective, international global perspective. Also themes can be this kind of perspective. Apart from this, you can also write in different themes. For example, uh like you can write on the basis of different variables. I must say, for example, human resource management, then human resource management in banks, then human resource management in banks in India. So all kind of perspective can be taken. Also different kind of themes can be followed, different variables can be covered, and different themes can be identified. Even in different themes, you can again use the chronological order. Means in every heading, under every heading, you can use the chronological order. Now, structure of a review of literature, we talk about it. So number one, I'm not talking the whole review of literature. I'm talking each and every review of literature should include introduction, means about the title, what they have taken, what methods that study has followed, body of the research, like what has been done, what methodology they have followed, and how data has been collected, what has been studied, and finally we have to discuss and write the conclusion on it. So every paper needs to be covered all these points while while it has been written as a review of literature. So every review of literature should be like this, in this way. And also we have to write in the last, that is referencing. So reference list needs to be made. If we talk about the referencing, we should include, there are a number of things. We should include the author name or author's name, year, title, where it has been published, in which kind of journal it has been published, which in which issue, volume, and on which page number it has been published needs to be mentioned. Steps of review of literature. Number one, select topic. Once you are done with the selection of the topic, you have to start searching the review of literature. Then you have to develop different arguments and need to identify what is not done. Then you have to survey the literature for the same. And finally, you have to critique the literature. Means you have to go very critically. You have to understand whether what is done and what is not done. And then accordingly, write the review. If we talk about concluding the literature review, so first you have to summarize the ideas, conflicts, themes, or any historical, or we talk about the chronological periods. Like for example, if we talk again, I take the example of automatization of payments or something. So earlier we see the studies maybe just on the banking, where people used to go for the transaction when they used to withdraw the money. Then the ATM machines came up, and then we started withdrawing from different places. And there were so many ATMs where we used to go and withdraw the money. Even nowadays, people are using ATMs. That's not the thing that we are not using it. But yes, after net banking came in and different transactions started happening online, like we started, like there are so many people started making bigger transactions. So again, there is one more revolution came up. Then after this, UPI and other payment apps started like allowing us for making different payments through their different platforms. And nowadays you are very much aware of all the applications. All type of age group is familiar with all these processes. They are the user interface for such applications are very much easy. So you have to see that what has been done in the previous decade or previously, and what is now, what is new. So what we have to write is all type of, like any kind of conflict happen, any themes has been changed, any history for the things that you have to include in your work. You have to relate or contextualize your thesis with the work reported in the literature. Also, you have to point out the gap or gaps in scholarship, and you have to show how your research helps you to fill the gaps. Means whenever you are writing the review of literature, you have to write the review of research gap, that you have to point out the gaps. And then also you have to understand that how your study can help to understand or clear that gap. Study, but you may have considered three, so though that you have to do, and one which is left, you can write down in the future so that this has been left can be studied by any further researcher. Transition to the next chapter by providing a reason why this work is being done and how. See, after writing review of literature, we write the gap so that we can understand what will be our research question and the objective. So that is the part of research methodology. So automatically it is giving a transaction to move from second to third part of the research. Now this question comes in everybody's mind, especially the scholars who are new and they don't they sometimes they think how much we should write, or somebody who starts their research journey, it depends on them. So as a part of a PhD or MSc, any kind of dissertation, review of literature should be very comprehensive, and they should cover all type of research on this particular topic. But when it comes to proposal of a project, it should also cover different aspects, but it should be very specific. So it should be reasonably comprehensive, but be specific also. Then next, in the research report or research paper, the review of literature covers the major work that has been done on the topic recently. You have to cover all the major work. Means just you don't need to go very older studies or something. You have to cover the current ones, or you can choose whatever the most relevant. You have to be stuck on that. So you have to see that what has work has been done on the topic recently, but does not try to identify all the research on the subject. So everything you cannot include, but uh, you can cover some specific work. Some points to remember. So if we talk about, there are some things which needs to be remembered. One, literature review must be written in a formal and academic style. Second, keep the writing very clear and concise. And do not use personal language, what we use in the WhatsApp or any other social media platforms. Always aim to be objective and respectful to others' opinion. Do not write anything vague to or wrong to any other previous researches what you have studied in the literature. Whatever they have done, that was their study, but you can use whatever you have understood. It should not be offending. It should be very respectful. It should be done respectfully. If you are not liking it, leave it. So the words should be proper and should not contain any wrong words for anybody. When introducing someone's opinion, don't use says, but also you can use appropriate words like such as they have argues, somebody argued, this is study claims or states. So you should use proper words for the same. So your literature review should present your synthesis of your previous research and lay the foundation for understanding your research and appreciating its value. So this is how it is all about review of literature. One last thing I would like to cover about review literature, which I was also mentioning in between as well, that you should avoid plagiarism. You should not just copy and paste the content. You should study and read and write according to your own choice. So at all the times, avoid plagiarizing your resources. Always separate your source opinion from your hypothesis, and also make sure that you're consistently reference the literature you are referring to. Means don't forget to mention the referencing. Means mentioning the name of the researcher. When you are doing your reading and making notes, it might be an idea to use different colors to distinguish between your ideas and those of others. Means you can also make notes when you are collecting the literatures. So thank you so much. That is it from my side. Now I'm open for the question answer session. If you have any doubt related to review of literature or research question, we can talk about it. Thank you so much, everyone. Everyone, I'm open for the open question answer sessions. Please tell me.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm Savi from Yamuna. I just want to know uh, if I choose a topic work-life balance on the basis of flexibility and on the basis of flexibility. So how I conclude or how I can find a research gap from the topic work-life balance?
Yes.
Just I just want to know how I can take your help for knowing the difference is related to research gap, and how I can conclude from the literature review. Is there
Uh,
any tips for that?
Means you are asking how to find out a research gap.
Yeah.
So basically, see, simply, I must say that whenever you are going to order any grocery, I'm just giving you a general example. So you have to see what is already there and what is what is finished. Okay, so you can see what is finished is your research gap. So if you see that whatever literature has, for example, you must be thinking about work life balance, you want to study something, so you have to study previous literature where you can see what is already done. Okay, now you know what is already done. You can also check out the future research scope. So what is still left? So out of those still left, that leftover is what? Research gap, which is not explored, which is nobody has done any research on that. That can be your research gap. But obviously, everything again, there will be so many things which are not studied. So still, out of those, you have to choose what do you want to study. So you can write the gap accordingly.
I mean, is there any tool which summarize our literature review or a research paper? AI tool?
See, I do not use any AI tool. Try to do it manually because as much as we can, as much as you will read and do it by yourself, you will get more clarity, and this will also help you to write discussions as well. So, as such, I do not know any particular platform. If I'll get to know, I'll surely let you know.
Okay,
So
thank you,
I
ma'am.
try to do it manually. Yeah. Any other question? Any other question?
Hello, ma'am, I have a
Yes.
question. Ma'am,
Yeah.
at times there are a few research papers which are completely related to art topics, right? And could be used as a wonderful and an amazing resource. But apart from the abstract, if we need to delve deeper into the research papers, they are not available for downloading. And is there any formal platform through which we can authentically download some research papers?
See, I must say that there are so many websites which are providing the papers to download it on a free basis, right? There are so many, but there are very few which are taking money, like they are charging for the same. So most of the time you can download, if you can pay for it, you can buy it, like you can take it from there. Or there are some websites, like for example, for the theses, you can go for Shodh Ganga. It is freely available for any kind of downloading. There are so many other, like research gate or something, you just have to log in. Most of the time you just have to log in and you can access the data. But if you cannot, so they are asking for the payments, so that you have to do. There is no any other way out, if I'm right.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other question? Any other question?
I think some of us have asked some questions on the chat box, ma'am. If you could have a look at that, and mainly it is about appropriate AI tools which may help with this work. So if you could just have a look at those questions and answer that.
Yeah, somebody has suggested Pico, Picot, and Picos for writing systematic review. Okay, there are somebody has written, I think, the Yashik or something, Yashika. She has suggested some Pico, Picot, and Picos for writing systematic reviews. If you want to use any kind of platforms, but I would suggest if you are a new scholar, you are a researcher, you started your research journey, you should try doing by your own. There are chat GPT, AI tools are there where people are using and writing the review literature from those. But I will never ever suggest you all to do that. Try to do as much as you can do it by yourself, because see, these things will make your life easier, but not that they will not enhance your knowledge. So try to do it as much as you can. But yes, there are so many platforms like Mendeley is there, which are helping scholarly, Zotero. There are so many platforms which from where you can get the data and you can search. ResearchGate is there, Web of Science is there, Scopus is there. So where you can, different sources from you can get the proper the way of writing review of literature, and you can take the help of those. So try to write it by your own, but do not use chat GPT and AI tools. Any other question? Any other question?
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a wonderful and informative session and expanded your precious time on RFI's platform. And thanks all the participants for being very cooperative and patient listener. And see you all tomorrow again the same time. Till then, goodbye. Thank you once again, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.